My name's Kevin Callahan. I'm with the 8th Air Force Historical Society of Minnesota, and I'm here today with Jim Pribil and what was your name?
Harold Hansen.
Harold Hansen, who's an old-time friend of Jim's, and we're going to do an oral history interview, which is to record some of Jim's stories and preserve some of them for the future on a DVD for his family and so forth. Jim, would you tell me your full name?
James T. Pribil.
And did you have any nicknames or anything in the service?
Jim.
And what's your date of birth?
16th March 1922.
Oh, and so how old does that make you today?
I'm 72 going on 73. 92 going on 93. What is this, 77?
You just cut a 20-year.
Yeah, I just cut 20 years off. But,
What's your place of birth?
Sioux City, Iowa.
Okay, and
My dad was on the railroad, and they transferred him down from West St. Paul to Eau Claire. I mean, to Omaha, or Omaha. There I go again.
That's a railroad down near
down
Nebraska somewhere or something.
Yeah, Sioux City, and I was born down there in St. Joe's Hospital, and then we came back about a couple months to St. Paul. We lived up on the east side of St. Paul.
Oh, so you grew up in East St. Paul. Okay. And what was your dad's name?
Frank Pribil.
And
I have Pribil.
Could you tell me a little about your mother? What was her name?
My mother's name was Rose.
And he worked on the railroad.
Yeah, the Omaha Northwestern.
Did you have siblings growing up, or brothers and sisters?
I had one sister, Helen, and my brother, Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Pribil.
And did you attend school then in East St. Paul?
Yes, I went to Arlington, Cleveland, and Johnson High School.
Okay, and when did you graduate from high school?
And I graduated out of night school in Minneapolis at here I go again. Mechanic Arts High School.
Oh,
I
sure.
Went to night school to finish up my credits. I went 3 years, almost 3 years at Johnson High School.
And did you get out of high school before Pearl Harbor or after Pearl Harbor?
Well, I got out of after.
Okay. And then what was your first experience with airplanes?
Well, let's see. I went through cadets down in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. The San Antonio Aviation Cadet Center.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do your basic and your pre-flight and all those things there?
Yeah, well, and I went to Independence, Kansas, and what the heck's it even? Right on the border, right across from Nogales. Painters Negros.
Okay. And were those like your primary
Eagle Pass
and basic?
was the air base.
Okay.
The Air Force Air Base. It was in Texas. Right on the border from across from Painters Negros.
Okay. Were you inducted in this area, like Fort Snelling, or?
Well, I signed up in Fort Snelling, in cadets.
And they gave you tests, and you must have done pretty well on the aviation cadet test. And
yeah, I requested pilot training.
did they send you across the country on trains in those days?
We went from here, St. Paul, Depot, down to Texas, San Antonio, on a train.
Yeah. And then, so you learned your pilot training. What kind of planes did you use when you were learning?
Well, let's see, we had, we're fortunate. First we went up to, what's the name of that, I'm trying to think of the name of at my age I forget things.
Oh, well, this is 70 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of those places are not around anymore. There's Randolph Field, it was in San Antonio.
I went to a school, Spartan Air School.
Okay.
And there I can remember the school and everything, but I can't remember the name of the town it's in.
Yeah.
Was it in good town?
Was it in Texas or?
No, it was north of it, by Kansas. But I went to this for primary training there, and then I went to to Independence, Kansas for my basic, and very fortunately I got a chance to fly the B. Let's see, what name is so long.
Oh,
ago,
the
I can't-
BT 13.
No, not 13. BT-10. It
Oh,
was North American,
okay, yeah.
and they warned us when we got them. And if you bang up a 10, they're short of them,
Yeah,
and you're automatically out.
you're washed out
So
if you
don't
mess up
damage
the
them.
plane.
Don't mess up the airplane.
Yeah. Okay, and then you went through the regular sequence, and then you got to advanced. You told me earlier that you
Eagle
had
Pass.
a P-40 Warhawk that you.
Yeah, we flew Warhawks on a.
Hi.
Hi.
We're gonna take a short break
Take a
here,
short break,
and
yes.
Mary just arrived. Just a minute, I'll
Oh.
turn this off.
Hi, Mary.
Okay, we're resuming, and Mary Berg is here, and so if there's anything I forget to ask, or if you want to jump in at any time, Mary will ask questions too, so that we try and get all of your stories or some of your stories. We were talking about your advanced training, and you had a chance to fly a P-40 Warhawk. Is that right?
Yeah, we checked out in the Warhawks in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Yeah.
P-40s there.
What did you think of the airplane? That airplane?
I didn't think much of it.
Yeah, it was underpowered for you, or?
I didn't like it. I just. Well, I flew it in combat too, and it's not a good airplane. I didn't like it.
Yeah, didn't compare to the A-36 or a
No.
P-47 or something.
P-51 or P-47.
Yeah,
There were two good airplanes. Both those were real good airplanes.
yeah. Is there something backing up? I'm gonna turn this off for just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you finished your advanced school training, and
Yeah.
then did you have some transition? Where did you go next? What was your next? Did you go to a
Well,
transitional
then we went
period?
down to what's the name of that down in Florida? I can't think of the name again. This is what you get when you're 92 years old, and you start forgetting things.
Well, they had a few different places. Tampa, I
And
think.
Bro, Tampa, Eagle Pass.
Eagle Pass.
No,
Okay.
was it Eagle Pass?
I'm pretty sure I know what. I don't remember the name either, but so
It's
you,
the next. It's right across the bay,
yeah.
and I went to. We had P-40s there too, and it was no good airplane. I didn't like it anyway.
Well, that's what they used in China.
I know they
In the
did,
late
but they weren't
80s.
fighting against the Germans either.
Ah, so it was a whole different,
Yeah, different.
different ballgame.
Well, we were a fighter bomber. It was, we were going against ground targets,
Mm-hmm.
and against another airplane it would be probably okay
Mm.
per se,
Mm-hmm.
but for the kind of work we did, the 47 was the best airplane built, better than the 51. The 51 was all right, but it was air cooled again, or liquid cooled, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And a liquid cooled engine is not good when you're in down low to the ground strafing. Because we get a hit in the coolant, the airplane's down.
Ah, yeah. Whereas if it's air cooled, you've always got more air coming
Yes,
in.
I've hitting the cylinders and everything, lose the cylinder and still keep running.
It'd knock a cylinder right off and keep
Yeah, keep
going. That's
keep
pretty
going.
tough engine.
Mhm.
So did you get assigned then to the 12th Air Force eventually?
Yeah, we were in Italy in 12th Air Force.
And then how did you get over? Did you go the southern route through Brazil or go north, or how did you get to Europe or
We went
North
out
Africa?
across, out of sea, we went out of, well, first we went up from Eagle Pass, Texas, not Eagle Pass, what's the name of that? I'm getting all screwed up in that. In Florida, we went up to Tallahassee, and then they took us up by train up to St. Mary's. I got on the St. Mary.
Oh, the Queen Mary, the
No,
ship,
not
or
no, St. Mary's.
St. Mary's?
Port of St. Mary.
Hmm.
And then we went over on a what was the name of this ship? It's terrible when you get so old you can't remember things.
Must have been from the East Coast.
It was the East Coast,
Yeah.
yes. And we went over to the North Africa. What was the name of that? Newfoundland. Not Newfoundland. I'm really getting.
Well, that's just directly north.
Did
yeah.
you come in at like Iran, Algiers, or
Well, I went
Morocco?
to
or-
Algiers, but what's where all Americans landed first in North Africa?
Oh, okay. Well, they first patent came in Morocco, I think, and then
No,
maybe this was
another
later.
place there.
What year did you go over?
44, beginning of 44.
Okay, so this was well after Patton was over there in 40.
Well, Patton was down towards Tunisia and farther east.
At that point.
Yeah, we went, and we went to Tunisia, and I can't remember the names anymore. My memory's gone all to sin.
Gee, I could have brought a map. I should have brought a map.
So, well, you crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Did you recall any problems with submarines or seasickness?
Yes, we got submarine, German submarine went after us by the Enzo beachhead, or not Enzo. I'm getting even worse now. Here. You got me excited here.
Well, we got you on camera. We're probably throwing you
I'll
off
be
here.
freezing.
You'll remember it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Then
That's
call me
about
then,
it.
okay?
That's
Call up Kevin.
Okay, so you had a submarine encounter. That's kind of
Yeah, we
frightening.
did, but and the British had planes there, I don't know, Beaufighters or something, they were after it. And so we didn't have any trouble. We landed in North Africa at the, what the heck was the name of that base there? It was kind of interesting because we were at the club, we were there for about 2 weeks before we went into, what the heck was the name of that? My memory's going all to sin.
Well, don't worry
I'm
about it. I
sorry
think
about
we could
this.
reconstruct where you
You
went
got
the
a lot of
route.
reconstruction to do.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you're in the 12th Air Force, and you were starting out with which plane was your first
Well,
plane?
the first one we had the P-40s. You know.
Okay. And what kind of missions were you flying initially?
Well, initially we were in Tunisia, and I was trying to think of the base we had at there, and San Angelo, I think it was. I could be mixed up on this here.
Did they start you off training, or?
Well, we were flying missions. We were
Yeah.
not looking for targets, to the east of there.
Mhm.
What's the name of that base? I'm trying to think. We had a B-25 base to the north, to the east, west of us.
Well, they had Tangiers, and then there was the
Yeah.
whole North African area all the way up
Yeah.
to El Alamein. But that probably the biggest port was probably Tangiers, I would think. And then Iran was very, very.
Then they shipped us from there
Mhm.
to Sicily,
Okay.
and this is when Patton and just moved into Sicily, and we got up as far as the North Port, the capital of Sicily up there, and then they already invaded Italy,
Mhm.
and he got established at Naples there, and we were at what's the name of that port there? Well, we went into Santa Maria Infante, in it's the north part of Naples,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we had a base there, and then we went to we made the invasion at Enzo beachhead, the ground troops did, and after we were flying out of San Angelo, and then they put an air base on the land there, and we were the first American out. There was a what was it? Spitfires they had there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The English did, But then we took over the base, the first American base there. And we were there for, I don't know, a couple of months, and then they moved us over to Corsica. And you talked about John
Dolney, yeah.
Downey. He was at a sister group right next to mine
Oh, really? On Corsica?
on Corsica, yeah.
And John later became, I think, a major general with the Air National Guard in Minnesota.
That's right, yeah.
And did you know him later?
Oh, I knew him all the way through. I was
Oh.
in the Guard for a while
Yeah.
after when I got out of the service.
Did you ever meet him in Corsica?
No, I never met him in
Yeah.
North Carolina. Well, wait a minute, I might have. I can't remember.
Well, now there's a documentary that's in color about the P-47s in Corsica and their ground support role in Italy, and it's quite interesting. It was
Yeah.
made at the time, and I assume you may have that. If not, I'll get you a copy of it.
Yeah.
It might have your plane in it, for all I know.
I-
Now let me back up just a minute. So in Sicily, did you do ground support role in the Sicily invasion, or was this after the?
right at the end of the Sicily invasion.
Okay, and they had taken, I think Palermo was over on one
Palermo,
end.
right.
Yeah, and
And then they moved in, and then we were my outfit was stationed at Naples there, and then we moved to Santa Maria Infante, which is on the north side of Naples,
yeah,
and we had a nice base there. Of course, what they did is cleaned a section of the city out and made it an air base. Tough on the Italians.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. During the Sicily campaign, was it mostly like, were you attacking tanks or
Ground
ground
targets.
troops? Yeah,
Any
trains
kind
or
of ground target we
anything
could
you could
get.
find. Yeah. And then when you went to Italy, was it similar? You were doing
Well, Italy, the same thing. Italy was all ground targets.
okay.
Anything that moved.
Yeah. Was the plane you were flying in Sicily, was that what was that, a P-47?
P-47, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, in Italy we flew. My memory's going. It's a P-51 version of the 51.
yeah, the A-36. It was a
Yeah.
P-51 for ground
It wasn't
attack.
A-36, but
Oh,
it was same thing as the A-36.
okay. But it was liquid cooled, you had to
North
make,
American
yeah.
liquid cooled.
Yeah, to make
same
sure-
thing as the 51, yeah.
you had to make sure you didn't get hit in the coolant
Right,
system, or you
right.
could go down. Now, did you have trouble over Anzio? I think John was hit, and he turned the plane over, and he bailed out, and he was almost captured during that
No,
Anzio period.
I got most of my trouble up in Italy and Germany, up in that area.
Okay,
Mostly in Italy.
yeah.
So
I
at
mean,
this, so at this
right.
point, it's when in 1944?
Pardon?
What month of 1944 were you in Italy? Did you get transferred to Italy?
Well, I was in there all in the latter part of the winter and the summer, going in the summer. And when you're talking about getting hit, I got hit I was out of this base at Anzio. And they shot my controls out.
Okay.
And I had gone up. I told you this about before. We went up north of Rome, and we were strafing a field up there that the Germans had occupied. It was an Italian airfield, and we had strafed that. And then we came back and come back in. We come back in to go to our base, and on land we go down the water, the ocean side, to keep out of fire, ground fire. And we cut in to go to our base, and I saw this vehicle going into a garage there. We were about 200 feet, and we were squatting us. And I called the old man, and I told him, I said, there's a big limousine going into a garage there. He said, where is it? Well, I said, it's right, best I can tell you, it's going into the garage right ahead of me there. Well, I said, is it all right for me to go down? And he says, go ahead. We'll come you up on top here. So I come down, and when I told him about it, I come down and I saw it, and part of it was sticking out of the garage yet, and I fired on it, and the ground literally exploded. with fire from the ground. And when I knew I got hit. They shot my controls out of my plane. Fortunately, I don't know why it didn't get me or get the airplane, but I shot full boost to the engine and it's still running. And I raised the nose of the ship and I started climbing, got up to about 400 or 500 feet. And then the thing, the stick was just like no controls in the airplane. And I'll tell you, I was one scared guy with no controls in the airplane at 400 feet.
So what'd you do?
I crawled out of it to bail out, and then wind blew me. My helmet with cords on it and everything, held me in, but it didn't hold me the second time. I went out and they tell us wait so many seconds, to pull the ripcord.
Yeah.
That ground was coming up too fast at me, and I pulled the cord immediately, and it popped open, chute opened, and I hit the ground.
Wow.
And I hit it awful hard.
Oh, I bet.
That was close.
Close.
How did you get rescued?
Somebody was looking at me.
Yeah.
Well, what I did is when I come to, I'd hit I remember bouncing off the airplane. I hit it. And when I came to, I knew where there was a ditch. And I crawled through this ditch, and I crawled down the ditch. And I lay there real quiet, and I forgot about my parachute, and if they saw the parachute, they knew I got out of it, see?
Right.
And I heard voices above me, and I thought, well, this is it. Because the Germans didn't like us, strafed them, and they shoot us. They were good in a lot of respects, but they knew they didn't like us, boy. So when the voices come down, I looked up, and the two Italian kids.
Really?
One was 18, the other was 20. And they come down over and I said, I'm American. American, yeah. And I talked to them and they could speak just a little English, not much. So they were going to take them to their father. I thought I heard somebody there. So anyway, we got down this ditch and went down about 1.5 miles, and where they lived. And they had me stay in the ditch, and they went up and got their father. And he come back with them with one of these carts. I was telling him it's like what they have in New York for produce. If you can remember those carts they had. And he come out with this and pushing one of these carts out. They did that. What he did, he wanted to get me in the center pushing his cart, so the neighbors wouldn't see him and wonder what was going on, see. So they got one of the boys on each side to help me because I was, I heard when I got out. And we walked into the house and the old mother was there. She wanted to give me potato soup and I didn't want any soup. I didn't want nothing to eat. I was too scared, I think. And so they got me into civilian clothes. So I went in there and they gave me a suit, wool suit. What a deal. And I had an escape kit with money in it, Italian money and French money in it, in case we needed it. And I gave them the money, of course that helped a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So then you were on your own? You just...
No, what they did is, I'd stay in the house at night and sleep on the couch, and then in the daytime, I'd be out in the fields.
Doing what?
Just sitting there, hiding. They didn't want me to get the Germans catch me in the house,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I tell you, one night, I met a guy, Joe Beta was his name. He was from White Plains, New York, and what's another place there? In California he was. He drove taxis. And he got divorced from his wife and come back to Italy. And he the bank they put his money in on with the war what busted.
Yeah.
And he lost all the money he had nothing.
Mm.
He had a house though, and so I spent one night with him, and it was kind of interesting. We were in bed, and we had separate beds, and I was sleeping in this straw mattress, and it's full of bugs in it. Oh. When I got back to my unit, I had to get everything, throw everything away, and I was all bit by bed bugs or something. I don't know what the heck it was, but it was terrible, an itch. I wound up in the hospital there. But
So how long were you on the run?
about a week.
About a week. And then what happened?
And I headed back, and I saw this here vehicle coming up. At first I thought it was German. No, it wasn't German. And I thought it was English. And I got closer, and I thought, that's not English.
No flags? Sometimes they
It wasn't
fly
like a little, no, just a little.
little one.
It was American.
Mm.
And I come running down on the road, and I'm yelling, hey, stop, stop. And I thought, well, why should they stop for this Italian running up? I might be close to throw a grenade at him or something, you know. And I'm American, I'm yelling at them, see. So they stopped. And I told them, I'm a pilot shot down here. I want to get back to the lines. And so they talked, and I told him my story, and he says, well, the Jeep's coming up with the radio in it and everything. So they came up, and he called back and said what to do with me, you know. And they said, get him back, see. So we started heading back, and we caught 2 Germans on the way, 3 Germans. 2 Polish Germans, you know, that they had put in the German army.
Yeah.
And they didn't want any, they wanted no part of the war with Germany, you know, they didn't want it. But then we caught a German sergeant, and he was surely kind of nasty. Well, I had a P-47 set on the window, and we're going that way, and I'm sitting there with the Thompson submachine gun on him, you know. And he must have known that I was in bad shape, that he's going to get it if he did anything bad. And we finally got up to the thing, and he paid no attention to me or anybody else until he saw this sergeant. We had a couple of generals there who had met me, and they didn't pay attention to them. But when he saw this sergeant who had stripes, you know, and then stripes for a number of years in the service, you know, and all lined down his arm. The guy went into a brace, you know. It was real, it shook him, you know. This year, he understood what that was, you know. So they finally took him away.
And then they took you where?
And they took me back to my outfit.
And how long did you have to stay in the hospital?
I was there about 10 days.
Had you hit your head, you said when you were bailing out?
I didn't hit the head. I
Oh.
hit I had to shoot I had everything, you know, the back on, and I bounced off of the airplane.
Oh, okay. And now, again, was this a 51 or a 47 you were flying?
This is a 47.
And when you bail out of a 47, do you just crawl out of it, or do you turn
That's
it
the
upside
only thing
down?
you can do,
or-
you know,
yeah.
don't have ejection seats in those
Yeah,
days.
right. So you'd open the canopy and
And
crawl out
crawl
onto the
out,
wing?
Just crawl out.
Yeah.
And they tell you what you dive for the wing, and you do all this
Yeah.
stuff here.
Yeah,
All I could think of was getting out of that airplane and that ground coming up at me.
yeah. So you had injuries kind of from the parachute and maybe hitting the ground.
Well, it's in the ground too. I hit so
Yeah.
hard in the ground, you know.
And where did they treat you then? Was it in a
Santa
hospital?
Maria.
Okay.
At the hospital in Naples.
Were they checking your legs and your back
They
and all
checked
that?
everything at
Yeah.
me, you know.
Yeah.
And I was there for about 10 days. And I got back in, and they were going to ship me home. Well, I didn't want to go home because, you know what the heck, I'd just go again. And all my friends were here with me, and we came together, you know. And I told the colonel, I said, geez, I want to stay here. Well, we got to get permission from the War Department. So they wouldn't let me stay until they got more permission from the War Department. So I was grounded for a month. I mean, until they got the word back from Washington. And it was kind of interesting. We got new P-47s, and my commander, my squadron could give me a P-47 to go wherever I wanted to within reason, you know. And I had a lot of friends that were in the heavies that I'd gone through Independence, Kansas with, that were across the boot, you know.
Over in Foggia?
Yeah, over there, yeah, on the west side of Italy, or east side of Italy. And I'd land at a field and taxi up and ask them if such and such place was here. And I went to two of them, and then a third one I found them. And they had just come back from a mission, they were in bed. And geez, when I told them I was here to see them, they all got up bed and they wanted me to check them out in that 47. I says, I can't do that. If you damage that 47, I'm in deep trouble.
And it's a single-seater, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a single-seater, that's right.
Were they thinking they would go up by themselves?
They went solo, oh sure.
Oh, yeah, right. Now, what?
My airplane?
Yeah.
And I'm responsible for it?
You'd be walking home.
I'd be walking home.
Now, were these people that you? Do you recall their names, or did you keep in
I
contact
can't
with any of
remember
them?
their names.
Yeah,
No.
and they were B-17 or B-24s.
I mean, these, one was, I used to know their names. Age, I can't remember. One was Ohio.
Were they in the 15th Air Force? Or were they in the 12th?
Well, we know
12,
personally. We know personally at least two, and I've met many of these guys that were in Foggia that were in the bombers. You know.
Yeah.
Because
Well, there were airfields all the way up the east side of Italy, you know.
Yeah.
And that's where these guys were in these. They were flying 24s and 17s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we're still in 1944? Is this mid-1944?
45.
Oh, we're into 45 now,
Yeah.
okay.
So let's see. So when you're on Corsica, you're doing a lot of ground support attack role in more northern Italy.
No,
Central.
We're doing that up in France,
Yeah. Okay.
out of Sicily.
Yeah.
We're in France.
So basically,
Or-
it kind of moved up the. It
Of
went.
course,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not shoot up there.
So
Stop.
the sequence is
Gathered together.
you go to North Africa, and then Sicily, and you're doing ground support, and then you're in Italy, and you get shot down in Anzio, and you're also in Corsica, and then that was both support in Italy and in France and
France,
Germany.
that's right, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Most of it, when we got into Corsica, we did all support in southern France.
Yeah. Yeah, there was an invasion there.
We
just
were
like-
in the southern
yeah.
invasion in France.
Oh,
We
okay.
were the first American outfit in southern France, a fighter outfit.
Yeah. So you're following the front is
That's
basically
right.
your
Well,
route.
that's what we
Okay.
did. We followed the ground troops, you know, up,
Yeah.
giving them support,
Yeah.
aerial support.
And did you see trains and trucks and all kinds
Up
of
in
things on the
Germany we
ground?
did,
Yeah.
and it's surprising when the weather was real bad, is everything had come out. And meanwhile, otherwise they were not cool, but
They're hiding out. They're
You
afraid of you
betcha.
guys. Yeah. Did you fly in flights of 4, or did you go in squadron?
well, we go as high as 12 in a fight, a
Yeah.
group going on. And then we in flights of 4, you know.
Did you? Yeah. Did you have like a commander of your squadron or somebody that was calling on the radio and coordinating what was going on, or did you guys kind of fly on your own, or how did that?
Oh
work?
no, we were under the commander.
Yeah. So you went in force. You went the whole squadron showed.
Yeah, well, we usually went from anywhere from 4 to 12.
Yeah.
That's the squadron did.
Would you ever see like a German plane come up to take you guys on, or were they on
One
the ground?
time, and I had they come after us, and I had 2 of them on me one time, and Brits got one of them, got him off of me.
Brits, like British
British, yeah.
Spitfires or something, or?
There were no, what was the name of that? I forget the
The
name of it.
Hurricane? Was it a fighter, a British fighter?
Yeah, British fighter, yeah.
The Hurricane, wasn't that
No,
the
not
other
a
one?
Hurricane. Not a Spit. I can't.
So you had two Germans behind you that were trying to shoot you down in the
One
British.
German behind me, but
Okay.
there's two of them, and there are
Yeah.
a pair of them.
And where were your other guys? Were they around or were you by yourself?
I was by myself there. I
Yeah.
mean, about a dive bomb run, and
Yeah.
when you dive bombing, you come up, you're alone for a while, you know.
Yeah. And they
You
sort
join
of
up again.
jumped you at the time you were coming out
Yeah.
of the dive.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of ordnance did you have with those planes?
And the P-47 and 450 calibers in each wing.
A lot of firepower then.
Yeah. But you only had so much ammunition, you know.
Did they ever show you combat gun films from your? Did they have those in your wing where they were taking a picture as you're pressing the button? Do you
Did I
remember?
ever see them?
Yeah. Did you ever have
They
films?
they showed films. I know that they had pictures of taken with the cameras there.
Yeah. Did they give you any of that film or?
No, they never did.
Okay. But they would show it to you once it was developed and they'd look
Never
at
did. I
it?
never saw any of it. But
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I saw others that when they were taking
Yeah.
pictures with it.
Well, the reason I asked is I met a guy who they gave him 3 reels of gun camera
Yeah.
footage and he brought it home, you know. So
Yeah.
it varied, I guess, by who you knew and
Yeah.
what unit you were in and that sort of thing.
Oh, I'm sure if you wanted it, I would ask for it. But I wasn't thinking about things like that then.
Yeah. Did you take pictures when you were in the service? Or?
Didn't take any pictures.
Yeah. Did you get any pictures from other people that were in the unit or
Never
of
did.
your time? Okay. Did you keep a log, or I don't know what fighter pilots do. I know the bomber guys kept logs.
Well, we kept a log. We kept a log of how long the flight was.
Yeah,
And of course, that was done at the end of the flight, you know.
sure.
We all filled it out. We had to keep it on our engines, you know, on the airplane, how much time we flew them.
Did you have any idea what the total number of the missions were you flew in World War II?
Yeah, I run, I think it was, 78.
Wow, that's an extensive.
No, a lot of them had more than that.
Yeah.
When I got hit the second time, I bellied one in, and short of a runway, I had my oil pressure tank shot out on me. And in Germany, I come back over the border, and I got into France, and my oil pressure went to 0, and I thought, well, it's going to stop one of these times. I might as well, while I still got some control of the engine, I might as well find a place to land.
Mhm.
So I don't come in with a dead engine, you know, and that. So I bellied it in on a field in France.
Was it grass or did you?
Wheat field or
Yeah.
grass field or whatever you call it.
How did
So
that
I-
go for you?
Oh, no trouble.
It was a
Chuck
good
was
landing.
airplane that
Yeah,
belly in.
yeah.
Is that when you were still flying out of Italy, or were you at a different
Of course,
base?
you oh no, we were up in France when that happened there.
Okay, okay.
I was up at, what the heck is the name of that town? It's up on the main river coming up out of Marseille. Can't remember anything
No,
anymore.
We should have brought
We
a
should have
map.
brought a
didn't-
big map,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Yeah, it would have been, if I had a map, I could.
Yeah, yeah.
so when you do these wheels up landing and you're wondering if the engine's going to quit at any time,
Well,
that's
no,
must
wait a
be.
minute, the reason I didn't want to come in with a dead engine,
Yeah,
well, you have no power, you know, when you
Yeah.
need it.
yeah, yeah. And that was a heavy airplane too.
Oh, it's a
Oh,
big,
yeah.
heavy airplane.
What did
yeah.
you think of the P-47? Did you like that plane?
I thought the 47 was a wonderful airplane for what it was designed for. Well, they used it for air to air too, but it was good, but not as good as the 51. The 51 was an air to air. The 47 was all around, but it was really good for ground support. Because they had the radial engine first that take a lot of punishment. And it didn't have that liquid cooled troubles that you have with a liquid cooled engine in ground support.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. So, did you write letters home? Did you save any of those things, or?
No, I never did. My wife, I don't know if she had it. I don't know. I've never seen any of them anyway.
Yeah. And
I
there
think
was,
she had some of them.
did you have any other documents that you kept, you know, I don't know, orders or your
I
discharge or?
didn't keep anything.
Okay. Well, I ask, because sometimes people kept that stuff. I didn't take many pictures when I was young either.
I didn't take
so-
any pictures, and I didn't take any. I don't remember any saving letters or anything. I guess that's the way I am.
So at what point did you go into the P-51 then?
Well, the 51 was we went in North Africa. When we got into Corsica
Okay.
and
They
Italy.
just automatically switched you over, or?
Yeah, I just switched over.
Just switched, and you'd already had training in the 51, so that was no problem?
Yeah, well, but the 47, I had no training in that when we went into that.
Ah.
We got in and flew it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think John Dolney had the same sequence. He started
Yeah.
in the 51s and then they went to the 47s, and I think he liked that 47
Oh,
because you
yeah.
felt a little safer. And everybody I've talked to that flew a 47 just said the first time they ever got in, the amount of power when you revved up that engine was incredible.
Right, yeah, a lot of power. It's a good airplane.
Did you have a chance to get any time off, or were you always kind of at the ready to go off and, you know, do missions, or did you meet local people, or did they keep you on the
Oh.
base, or?
We met people, local people. I can't remember though.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people over there.
What was the condition of Italy at that point? I mean, I imagine there was a lot of destruction, and the
Oh,
people must have been impoverished, I suppose.
impoverished, and it was terrible. Beautiful homes, you know, all blown to heck, and a tough deal, boy. War isn't good.
Yeah. And then when the German campaign was happening, you were in France, but you're flying over German,
That's right,
Nazi
yeah.
Germany at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah. And that would have been just before the war ended in what, May of '45. Then
Yeah.
you were flying. After the war ended, did you stay, or did
Well,
they
then
send you
I
home?
went back. It was still going on, and I went back to my commander flew me down to let's see, where was it? From up in France, he took me down to Marseille, and then I took a plane out of there to Corsica again. To get another one over to Naples to get a plane there to go back, or either a plane or a boat to come home.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're there, what do they call them? Anyway, the transport plane had been grounded for some reason or another. Well, I came over on the St. Mary, real good training ship. So I said, I'll go take that back. Well, the one I went over was a merchant marine. It was brand new,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really nice. We had our own cabins and nice. Went over there. I was down in the 10th hole, I think, down in the hole, bottom of the
Down in
ship.
steerage.
It was Navy, and they didn't care about Air Force or anything out down there. We were in the bottom hole, boy.
You were below decks in the worst part of the ship.
You betcha.
How long did it take to get home?
Oh, a week.
Did you hit any storms or get seasick or anything?
No,
or-
I never get sick.
Oh, that's good.
I never get sick.
Pilots don't seem to get, once you don't have air sickness and
I
sea
know.
sickness compared to
Got it.
normal, everyday people. Did you ever meet any famous people or go to a USO show or any of those things, or were you pretty much engaged in the
Well, I'll
combat?
tell you, when I was up in North Africa, went into the club one night, and one of the guys was a real good pianist. He could really play the piano, and he was a crackerjack at jazz, you know. So we're all around the piano, and he's playing away, you know. And this gal's in there, a bunch of people come in, and this gal comes and puts her arm around me, you know, and around my shoulder, you know, and her hand, and she's over and go with the music, you know. And I look at her, and it's the German actress,
Marlene Dietrich?
Marlene Dietrich.
Oh,
Oh, for right.
And she's looking at it, oh my God, that's Marlene Dietrich. See? And
this was down in Marseille?
yeah, this is in no, not Marseille. This is no, this is in North Africa.
Okay.
What was her name now? Marlene Dietrich, but what was the deal? She was there trying to get my head cocked on straight. Well, anyway, she left there, and about a week later, they put her in the hospital. She had pneumonia.
Mm.
She was one sick girl, really. They didn't know if she was going to make it or not.
And she caught this after she had met you, the pneumonia.
I don't know.
You didn't catch pneumonia.
No, I didn't catch it.
Okay, well, that must have been quite a surprise to see somebody that
all she
famous.
just had her arm around me like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
on another guy's shoulder and my shoulder.
Well, she must have liked you.
Oh no, there's no friendship there, you know. It's something to lean on.
Well, you probably have a different impression when you hear a Marlene Dietrich song than having met her or seen her in person.
Yeah.
Quite the character.
What a gal.
So were you on a ship when VE Day happened, or were you at home, or how?
Yeah, I was home.
Yeah. So you had done all your missions and were getting close to
I was
being
getting
discharged.
ready. They stationed me out of Stockton, California.
Mhm.
I come out there. Why I don't know. They put me in a twin engine school. I was strictly fighters. I wanted nothing to do with heavy.
Were they thinking you were going to go fly in the Pacific or
Oh
something? Or?
sure, go
Okay.
go in there.
And they were going to train you to fly like a B-25 or something, or?
No, I don't know. Probably P-38 or something then.
Okay, yeah.
Twin engine, you know.
So then the war in Europe
They had
ended.
so many of us guys then, you know, at the end of the war, they didn't know what to do with us.
Yeah, yeah. And then, so they dropped the bomb, and that kind of ended the war within a few
That's
days.
exactly right.
And were they expecting a longer war?
The bomb
Yeah.
stopped the war.
Yeah, it would have gone longer if it hadn't
You
been
bet
for
you
that.
would, and a lot more people would have died,
Yeah,
both American and Japanese
yeah, yeah.
and everybody.
Well, that's universal from everybody I've talked to in the Pacific. Some of them said it saved their lives. That
It
they would have
sure
been
did.
they would have been in Japan.
Thank
and they
God
didn't
for
think
Truman.
Yeah, I've never met anybody who didn't say that was actually over there.
Right.
So VE Day and then VJ Day and the wars ended. Were you in for a while, or did they discharge you right
No,
away?
I had so many points that I got out,
Yeah.
and I went and got into the guard,
Yeah.
air guard.
So your life after the war. By the way, we have to take a break at 11:30, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got about 20 minutes and
Yeah.
move. Yeah, were you going to ask something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, are you from Wisconsin? Were you born and raised in Wisconsin?
St. Mary's Point and
Oh.
St. Paul,
Across the river?
across the river, yeah.
Okay, just,
And then after the war, well, I had told him that we lived down at St. Mary's Point,
mhm,
and that's where he lived.
mhm.
He knew my mother and dad.
Ah, small world.
His dad was the mayor.
Ah,
Eagle Point.
mhm,
Eagle Point. Yeah, Eagle
St. Mary's.
Point. St. Mary's Point.
mhm.
I don't know where I am.
So after World War II, did you come back to Minnesota then? Before?
Come back, yeah. What did I do? I went in the guard, the Air Force then.
Yeah.
And,
So you were in the Minnesota Guard, not the Wisconsin.
no, Wisconsin, Minnesota, yeah.
Minnesota.
Air Guard, yeah.
And of course,
And then
Korea comes up and Vietnam comes up.
Yeah,
and-
we called the guard, the air guard, and so they called me back in that, and then I went up to Alaska.
What did you do in Alaska?
I brought a squadron up there, half the squadron up there to start up everything, to get it all started up there in
What base in Alaska?
40, what was that, 50, I haven't got the dates.
Yeah, in early 1950?
Yeah, early 50s, yeah.
Early 50. And what base were you
We're
stationed?
in Fairbanks.
Okay.
What was the plane you were flying back then?
Well, we flew my mind isn't working.
Yeah. Was it like a Corsair, or like a
No,
propeller,
it was
or jets, or
jet, yeah.
one of the early jets? Okay.
And what do they call it?
Well, they came out with a lot of them. There was like the Starfire, the F-100, the F this and the F that. So
And it was the twin engine. I've got over 1,000 hours in it and I can't remember the thing.
well, what was Fairbanks, Alaska like? Was that pretty cold in the winter?
Cold in winter and hot in the summer.
Mhm.
You get 100 degrees in the summer and 60 below in the winter.
Oh, worse than this.
Wow, 60 below. I've never been in 60 below in my life. So how long were you up in Alaska with the Guard?
2 years.
Yeah, that must have been an interesting time.
I loved Alaska.
Yeah.
And my kid loved it.
Mhm.
In fact, after he got out of school, he graduated down in the Philippines. He graduated in high school in the Philippines, and then he got out, and he went back to Alaska. Worked for the oil companies up there.
Is this Thomas you're talking about?
Tom, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know him?
Well, I talked to him the other day.
Oh, did you?
We called him on the phone just to make sure that you didn't have any appointments. So you said that your son graduated from the Philippines
That's right.
because you were still in the service and you traveled.
Yeah,
So you were stationed out there.
right.
Okay. So you were in Alaska for 2 years, and primarily you did flying for what purpose?
I was flying over to Vietnam. I was in contingency plans.
Mm-hmm.
This is before the war started over in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
But it was there at the end when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did is we picked out the airfields where we were going to put the bases, the air bases.
Hmm.
Like the Phnom, I picked that for ground support. I mean, to support our airplanes. You know, I mean, like if they got hit or bailed out, we had to have a place where we had our help for them to get them out.
Right.
And they kept them. They put the bases where we said.
Mm-hmm. But that was late 50s or
Yeah, early
early 60s?
early 60s, late 50s, early 60s.
Okay.
So did you pick out like things like Da Nang Air Base and Pleiku Air Base and Cameron
The
Bay?
Phnom I picked out first,
Uh-huh.
that one there myself, and then what else? I don't know. A lot of it was a group would pick out it's a good spot for one here.
So in Vietnam, you were still in the Air National Guard,
No,
During
in
the-
Vietnam, no, I was in the Air Force then.
Air Force. Okay.
I switched over from the Guard way back when I went into the Air Force.
Okay.
They
So
gave
that
me
was
a
in
regular
the,
commission in the Air Force.
Was
so
that-
you went from the Air Force to the Air National Guard to the Air Force. It was the sequence.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And then you had a career in the Air Force.
I had a career in the Army Air Guard,
Mhm.
Air National Guard, Minnesota Air National Guard,
Yeah.
the Air Force.
How many years have you been in, or were you in service then? Did you ever total up all of
Yeah,
those?
I got about 20. I have 26 years in the Air Force, or in military.
Wow.
Total.
Yeah. That's a full career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then did you, when you finished, what was your rank? When you,
Lieutenant Colonel.
okay. And that
In
was
fact, the colonel, the general that was, I had the squadron at Truex Field, and when he got the papers saying I was putting in for retirement, he said, "Get down here." And I jumped in a. Here we go again. I was in a. I can only think of the name of the airplane. It's metal block.
Mhm.
Jumped in the airplane, flew down there. It only took about an hour to get down there or less. Got in and he Pribil, he said, "What's this deal you putting in for retirement?" Well, I smiled. I said, "Well, General, let me tell you what happened." And I told him about my brother-in-law, Ernie Starr, who owned Starr's Tavern over here. And he wanted to retire. He couldn't. He's getting old and that. And he had to retire. And he wanted to keep it in the family, the place. And he had just built a new home out on the river here. So apparently, so we, I moved. I went, got retired and got the tavern.
That was up in North Hudson?
This is a hell of a thing you're doing here with me, the way I'm stuttering and.
Well,
So
don't worry about it.
So you
You're doing fine.
returned from the Air Force to run Star's Tavern
Yeah,
up in North Hudson, isn't that
North
what?
Hudson, right.
Yeah, that's,
Well, what kind of retirement is that? You're still
Yeah.
working. How long did you do
Let me
that?
tell you something, no more of that. That is work, that tavern
Oh,
business.
yeah.
I don't
That's
want
real
any
work.
part of
you
it.
thought the Air Force was work.
I had 6 years in that, and that's 6, 7 years, and that's enough.
Yeah.
I sold it.
Then did you really retire, or did you do something else after that?
I retired.
Yeah. And did you keep in touch with any of these people over this long career? Do you have reunions, or do you have groups?
Oh yeah,
that are-
I see. These guys in that picture up there, the three up there, Dave Wynn and Burford. He lived up in Webster, and we'd go up there and see each other all the time. You know, he'd come down here. And good guy, good. They're good. He wound up. Burford was a major, and Dave Wynn got to be general.
Where was that picture taken?
Where?
Yeah, of the guy.
Three of you there?
Uh-huh.
Out of Minneapolis.
Oh, that was Minneapolis, okay.
Yeah.
Well, have you had a chance to go see the World War II memorial? Did you ever go on an honor flight or any of those things out to Washington to
There's
see
a
that?
girl who wants to take me. I forget her name now. I can't tell you that. She's been on 2 or 3 times to get me to go.
Yeah.
She was Stillwater. Nice, lovely girl. Really good. But I don't want to go to Washington.
Too long a day for you? Or-
I just don't. What do I've seen Washington.
Yeah. Well, they say it's a fun trip. You
Oh,
know,
they say it's
the
wonderful.
people that go on them say
It's-
this is a
well,
wonderful
they're
thing.
Wonderful to us.
Yeah.
They're
I went on that
really
trip
good.
myself.
Did you
Huh?
really? Oh, isn't that
Yeah.
fabulous?
Are you on it? Did you
No,
run
I
it?
did, yeah, 2 years ago.
Did you?
You're gonna
They
let-
say it's a wonderful thing, but I just haven't had the desire.
Now they only
I'm getting old. That's what that is.
What, oh, no.
That's old.
they only built that not that long ago, that
10 years.
memorial.
10 years ago.
So do you recall when you saw it? Was it finished?
Yeah, it was all finished.
Yeah.
I can't remember when it must be finished 5, 6 years ago at least.
Okay.
Well, I think, no, we went out there 10 years ago when it
Okay.
was dedicated. Remember Earl, well, you weren't in it.
Yeah. No, I've never been out there. I've never seen it.
You've never seen the World War II memorial?
No, I've been to Washington, but it was before they built the thing.
Oh.
You know, one of the nice ones too is the Korean Memorial. That's really an
Very
outstanding.
nice,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have they got another one out, Korean?
And then I think they're rebuilding the World War I memorial, or they were talking about.
You know, I'll tell you, I feel extremely sorry for the guys who were in Korea in that winter.
Oh yeah.
The ground troops.
Yeah. It was,
Excuse me. I'm
Yeah,
gonna turn
a
this
couple
off
of-
here.
misbegotten wars since,
We've had some of the people come and talk to our 8th Air Force group, and if you're ever would like to go, we'd sure invite you to come. But we had a couple chosen reservoir the guys talk about being on the ground, and they were so grateful for the Corsair air support. What you were doing with the
Yeah.
P-47s basically saved them, you know. But they were tough, the Marines in Korea. But yeah, I agree with you. They certainly didn't get all the fame or any of that from all the things they went through. Well, I do want to ask you about, you had 35 years with the Hudson Water Commission, and it was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
So, and you said you started out and it was like, it sounded like it was bankrupt, and then you ended?
Yeah, the water department, it's a separate unit of the city, you know. They charge, and so they pay their troops out of that money. Well, and they were bankrupt. They just didn't have the dough. But they had money when I got through with them.
So you managed this pretty well over 35 years and.
35 years, they
Yeah.
had $7 million, $6-7 million.
Yeah, and you were drilling wells and stuff in
We were
Hudson?
putting wells,
Yeah.
and then the tide, Hudson's really just jumping, you know.
When did you move to Hudson?
When I got out of the service.
Oh, okay, right after you got out of the service.
Yeah.
Well, after you finally retired.
I had to, yeah, when I retired,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So you didn't go back to Minnesota, you went to Wisconsin.
Well, when I first retired the first time, you know, when I got out of World War II,
Mm-hmm.
I went to Stillwater,
Okay.
and I was out for a year there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went into the service, and I was all over the world then.
Right, right.
Have you had any trips back to Italy or France or Germany?
No,
or-
but I'd love to go back to Italy again.
Yeah.
I would have liked to gone back there.
Yeah.
You know, you keep putting things off, and then you get so old you can't go. But I'd love to go back to Italy and see if I can find those people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I got out on the ground after I got back, I went in with a truck full of food for them.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think I could find them? I went and looked up every place there. They had gone to Rome.
Is this the family that took you in, you mean, when you were bailed out?
Yeah,
You just couldn't locate them.
couldn't locate them.
Yeah,
I'd have given anything to get those people.
yeah. Well, they risked their lives for you.
Oh,
They
yeah.
sure did.
To hide
When the
you.
Germans got them, they just shot them right there.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of why we won the war. People didn't like Nazism and fascism
No.
and Mussolini and.
Yeah, even, I'll never forget, in the Vatican, you know, in Rome, they had big signs up there, Tedici verboten, verboten. Germans forbidden, Germans forbidden. They weren't welcome in the Vatican.
Did you get leaves where you could go? You get a week off or anything? Where like a
Oh, we had
rest?
time off, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
we had a deal with the Pope, about 40 of us.
Well, I got to ask you about that. What kind of deal did you have? with
Well,
the
I mean,
Pope?
he talked to us,
Oh, really? In person?
yeah,
Okay.
about
And was
40 of
it
us.
was this in the Vatican?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you get any time in Capri or any of those places?
Yeah, I got in Capri, sure, I
Yeah.
got Capri, you betcha I did.
Did you like that?
Loved it,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, we've heard that was a pretty nice place from a couple other people that visited there during the war. Apparently, that was a nice recreation
Real
area.
nice, yeah.
So,
Beautiful girls down there too,
yeah.
Capri. Yeah.
Well, we want to let you get to lunch, but I want to thank you very much, Jim, for letting us get some of your
This is a poor
stories.
interview, I can't think straight, I can't do anything, I'm getting old.
You did fine, and what I'd like to do is we'll make some DVDs. We'll get one for you and maybe Tom. Was there other people in the family that
That's
might
all right.
want a copy of it? Or?
Times and all that.
And then I usually put these up on YouTube, and what that is on the computer. Anybody with a computer anywhere in the world can maybe type your name up, and they can find you. And what's happened recently is like in Foggia, Italy, there's local movie guys that are making documentaries. You know, they're young guys,
Yeah.
And so you might be surprised, people will pop out of the woodwork from 70 years ago and stuff. You might run into the people that you knew, you know.
Yeah.
But if that's okay with you, we'll put it up on our website. We have a web page with about 200 of these. And I've had people say, well, 4 people from my squadron on an island in the Central Pacific called me after 70 years from seeing this stuff. So it's a way if there are people that are looking for you, just like you were looking for the family that could reach you somehow.
Kevin,
or
did you
find
get the pictures up there?
No, yeah, we'll take a minute. I'll close then, and again, I want to thank you for letting us do this
Sorry,
interview.
it's such a poor one, I tell you.
You did fine.
Have you
No,
got
I didn't
pictures
do
other
it.
than these? Are these your only pictures that you
That's the only
have?
ones I got
It's
handy,
the only
yeah.
one you have?
Okay, well, we'll take some still shots of the
Yeah.
pictures.